This week we saw David Fritz, legendary master of the crankbait, retire from professional bass fishing. Now this sent the bass fishing world into a frenzy of speculation as to who might take his place on the roster. Well, the answer is not as clear-cut as you might think. Let me tell you why.
From everything I understand by how everything's rolled out, Rick Clunn will be the one that takes his legend exemption.
Well, our friend Andrew Upshaw has it half right. Is Rick Clunn using his legend exemption to enter into his 50th year of professional bass fishing? Yes, he is. But is he taking David Fritz's spot on the roster? That would be a no. What a lot of people don't understand is that David Fritz has not been using his legends exemption to fish the last couple of years. Since January of 21, he's actually been fishing under a medical hardship exemption because in January of 21, he contracted the old Rona. Since then, David has been suffering from symptoms of what they call long vid. Yeah, it's left him with stamina issues, breathing problems, heart palpitations, so much so that this past December, he had to have a stent put in an artery called a Watchman device. It's a parachute-shaped device that helps catch blood clots to keep them from going to the brain or the lungs. So yeah, David's had a pretty rough time. Therefore, he's been fishing on the medical hardship exemption, not his legends exemption. If you remember back when Jordanlee made that first call to bass to try to come back in 3 weeks ago, he was told that Larry Nixon and Rick Clunn were using their legends exemptions. There is no mention of Fritz, and Fritz hadn't retired yet. So yes, there were 2 legends exemptions being used and 1 medical hardship exemption. That's how it shaped up supposedly to start this season. Then Larry retired and Fritz retired. And now you have where we are today. It's a common misconception that there are only 2 legends exemptions to be handed out each year from Bass. Even if you ask some of the folks employed by Bass, they'll give you the same answer. But they're wrong. You know how I know? All you have to do is look in their own rules. Here's what it says. Just after it mentions that their target field size is 100 anglers plus exemptions, Bass goes on to say, Bass reserves the right to determine final field size and exemptions, hardship, legends, etc., criteria at its own discretion. All exemptions will be added to the field size. So in the end, this is how it shapes up. Larry Nixon retires, his spot then goes to Jordanlee. Rick Clunn does not make the cut, so he invokes his legends exemption to re-enter the field. That equals 2 legends exemptions currently being used. David Fritz decides to retire, so the medical exemption just kind of goes off into thin air, and that's where we are. That's not what everyone should be focusing on, though. Bass just missed a huge opportunity to deal a fatal blow to Major League Fishing. Let me tell you why. There are several notable names at Major League Fishing that also carry legends exemptions that have been very outspoken about how they do not like the direction Major League Fishing is going. With Bass literally being able to go in and change the number of exemptions they allow each year, and Major League Fishing being on the ropes, Bass has the opportunity to go in and take all those disgruntled anglers that hold legends exemptions away from MLF, therefore bleeding them dry. So instead of deciding to finish MLF off while they had the chance, they allowed a run-in by their own lack of downfield thinking to foil the day. I was actually able to get a hold of a little bit of video footage from within Bassmasters headquarters the moment this decision was made.
Finish him!
Your mama!
Come here!
Our friend Andrew Upshaw had his own little prediction to make concerning who might join up with Bass in 2025 should Rick Clunn only fish out his 50th year and then decide to retire. Let's see what he had to say.
Do we see KVD come back to Bass? Now, I want to say one thing. I had a conversation with Kevin at ICAST. It was at ICAST. And he told me that he was done. But he had a lot of other stuff coming up, but he was done.
Now, is there always a possibility KVD could come back in 2025? Yeah, there's always a possibility. But me personally, I think he's done. As a matter of fact, I hear that racing team he's been dreaming about putting together is finally assembled. Here's a picture I was able to get from their latest media packet. For a finalized copy of the 2024 Bassmaster Elite Series roster, just look in the comment section below at the pinned message at the top. You'll find it there. And for all your latest fishing news, please continue to come back to this channel. Thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time we meet, get out there on the water and keep it wet.